What's up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another episode of Where's the Call Sheet. I hope you all had an amazing holiday weekend. I know you didn't if you were flying Southwest. So if you are flying Southwest and you're still stranded at KCI, here's a podcast for you to listen to. I do have one more gift for everybody, and that is our guest today, the one, the only, Brittany Laney. Say hi to the people, Brittany.
Hi to the people.
Brittany is super excited to be on the podcast today. This is going to go one of two ways. We are either going to have the greatest podcast that has ever podcasted, or I'm going to sleep on the couch for the next year and a half. So which way do you think this is going to go?
We'll see.
We'll see. Nice.
The only positive was that I didn't have to clean the house this morning because I am the guest.
Yeah, and I usually mess it up. And
Yeah.
so I'm the reason it's messy, and then I don't really clean it up because, you know, your hobby is cleaning. So, like, I'm totally fucking kidding. I'm not a misogynist, I promise. That was a joke, a little running joke in our family. Ha, 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 he, he, whatever. But, yeah, we put a poll up on Instagram last week, I guess, after last episode or whatever, and we asked what people wanted to see. And the two things. One is that people wanted to know what we're going to talk about in the episode before the episode starts. So we're going to do that here in a second. But two, they really want to hear about people that are in the film industry that did not go to school, like don't have a film degree necessarily, or people that work like they're an accountant or whatever, but they want to make films. Like, how do you go in that? And I couldn't think of a better person to talk about that than Brittany herself. We'll get into her backstory here in a second. But Brittany has a master's degree in something completely not related to film. So we're going to talk about that journey about, you know, going to school for something completely different. And then we're also going to kind of talk about how, like, Brittany and I started as friends. So, like, you know, you see me, I'm getting a film degree, like, you know, it's kind of funny, but then, you know, we obviously became romantically involved, and it kind of switches you look at someone one way as a friend, but then once you start romantically look at them, it's a little bit different, especially when you think about longevity. I mean, we've been together for 8 years now. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about just Brittany in the industry and how she, you know, what has come of everything, and being a woman in the industry, you know, is obviously a big part of that. So we have a good episode for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, it's not Brittany's fault. It's all my fault.
How do you know it's a good episode?
Did I say that
We
right?
haven't filmed it yet.
I know, but did I say that right? It's my fault, right? I said
Yeah.
that right. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, we can get into the episode now. First and foremost, my first question, just to kick everything off, Brittany, how does it feel to live with the greatest podcaster of podcasting history?
I'll let you know when he gets there. But right now, it's the same as it was before.
That was the lamest answer I've ever heard in my entire life, but that's okay. All right, so, you know, we weren't KU. You know, we met at Panera. You know, we became friends.
Over the broccoli cheddar bread bowls?
Over the broccoli cheddar. Wow, it's early. This podcast airs in like 2 hours, and we're filming it now, so I apologize if the top of this is probably a mess. If anything is more, Brittany is all, she's got her makeup on, her hair's done, she's got a cute outfit on, nice pants. I'm wearing the shirt I slept in, Pikachu pajama pants, and a Joel Embiid KU jersey because I love Joel Embiid that much.
And the best part is he probably thinks he matches.
Do I not?
No, absolutely
Oh, and
not.
I'm wearing a green Eagles
You
hat.
have a green
I have
Eagles hat.
Eagles
Yep.
hoodie or a beanie on, a white and blue jersey on, yellow pants. My underwear is purple in case anyone... No, it's not. I don't wear K-State colors. Get out of here.
You don't know what color they are.
No, I don't. I'm going to stop rambling. We're going to get back to this. So we met at Panera. What were you going to KU for? Why were you at school in the first place?
So I was going to school to get a degree in biology. I wanted to be a research scientist.
What kind of research?
Alternative cancer research. So laboratory, very boring, long, tedious research that would hopefully someday make a difference.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I mean, that's like your big thing is you've always been someone, you're very caring, like you're very giving, you want to help people. And I know when we first met, that was, you know, one of the things that we bonded over was that you had a massive heart. I had some stuff going on when I transferred into KU, and Brittany, you know, had known me for like maybe 10 minutes and was like, hey, I got you. So that's how we became friends really quick. You were dating somebody else, so it wasn't even a romantic option. It was just, you know, we worked together all the time. We were really good friends. But Brittany's always been someone, or you've always been someone that's like, you want to help people. That's your thing. And so when you told me that you wanted to do alternative cancer research, I kind of laughed at you. And I was like, you just want to smoke a lot of pot and then give it to cancer patients. But
And then I told you that my younger sister had leukemia when she was a child, and then that very quickly made you feel bad.
Right, and then I became a massive asshole and I never talked about that ever again. So thank you for throwing me on the spot.
You're
there.
welcome.
Fantastic. Man, this podcast
Off to a
is
good
starting off
start.
with a great start. So we were friends, at the beginning. We had a little group of friends or whatever. And so you wanted to do biology. What was everybody else going to school for?
There's an engineer, architect, linguistics, business, and
I think Max was like marketing and stuff like that.
yeah,
So,
and then there was speech pathology.
Yeah, I mean,
And then-
more of the
yeah.
story is that everybody was going to get like big boy, big girl jobs, and then there was
And
Lucas,
then we had Lucas.
and then there was Lucas who was getting his film and media studies degree.
I didn't even know you could watch movies as a major. Like, I might
I
have
did.
changed my option if I knew that I could show up, watch a movie, and then go home.
Yeah, I mean, I barely showed up, but
If you-
that was the gist of what my
If
degree
you showed
was.
up.
But then you took, I want to say it was like a year into us knowing each other. You took one of those film classes because it was you and Nathan that took that class.
Yeah, I had to. It was either that or I had to take like analytical poetry writing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I could either watch a movie. I see how little homework and little work that Lucas does, or I could do this writing class that I absolutely know nothing about.
It wasn't little work. I literally did nothing.
I was just trying to
I
be
was
nice.
the worst student in the world. Like, the University of Kansas probably hates me, to be completely honest with you, because I skipped so much. I mean, they probably love me because they got free money. They didn't have to deal with me, and I still paid them. But yeah, you took that class with Nathan. So, like, my big question is, from a friend perspective, you have this one friend who's getting a film degree. Like, what did you think was going to happen to me after I graduated?
I thought you'd move back in with your parents, and I thought you'd be like a little starving artist kid. Maybe take some pictures of your friends at their weddings, their events, their bands. Like, I didn't actually know that it was a degree. Nonetheless, you could make a living in it. Like, I thought it was just something people talked about. Like, oh, I'm
Yeah, you
getting a
thought
film
it
degree.
was a joke.
Oh, I'm getting my MRS. Oh, I'm going to school to get married. Like, I'm going to school.
I'll be honest with you. If someone wanted to give me an MR degree and someone wanted to marry me and make me be a stay-at-home dad, dog dad, whatever, maybe not even a dad, period, just make me stay at home, all for it.
To be honest, that's kind of what I thought was going to happen.
All for it. I would love that. Nothing would make me happier than that.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much for... You'll reveal why that's not my life right now. But yeah, so basically, like, it was a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a joke to everybody. Like, Nathan was the only person that it wasn't a joke to, but... Wow, I just hit the mic. But that was because Nathan was artsy. Nathan was a musician, so, like, he was kind of in the same, like, starving artist realm as me, so he understood it. The rest of you guys made fun of me.
Yeah, I still make fun of you, but a little differently now.
Yeah, I mean, the first job I took was $14 an hour, so it's not like, the degree became a success instantly.
Honestly, when you got a job making $14 an hour, I was very impressed. I was like, okay, that's a good starting place. Like, he might eventually...
Well, how much did you make when you were at the bars?
I made like $30, $40 an hour bartending.
Yeah, so...
And I was a Bud Light girl before that, and I made $27 an hour plus tips.
Yeah, so
to hand out free beer.
The girl that wore tight clothes and handed out beer was making double the amount of money that I was reporting in the news with a degree.
But you weren't making minimum wage, so I was like, look, he's making progress.
Hey, I was proud of myself. That was more money than we'd ever made because we made $8 an hour when we worked, or you made more.
I made $11 when I quit working at Panera, and that was after I'd worked there for 5.5 years.
Yeah, my goal was to make $10 before I quit, and then Gloria gave me the raise to $10 exactly, and I'm pretty sure I put my 2 weeks in like a week later.
And then everybody else quit very quickly.
Yeah, I'm a trend center. Just whatever.
As long as it's not fashion trends, we're all probably good to go.
No, fashion trends. If you listen to me on fashion trends, you're a moron. Unless you're going to like a different planet, then maybe it's perfect. But like for this, no, it's not. Okay, so like from a friend perspective, like there's not a whole lot of weight that comes on that. Like we're friends. Like it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter what you do for a living because we're friends. It's a personality thing. It's not necessarily your job. But then, we took an interest in each other, and she's going to tell you that I liked her first. Blah, blah, blah,
That's exactly what happened.
It was mutual. We've been over this a million times. You also were never my boss, but whatever.
The fact that you had to say that and cut me off before
Well, I
I
just
could
knew you
even
were
say,
gonna say
hey,
something.
I was your boss, I signed all your training paperwork, and
So listen,
you came after me.
Is this a couples bantering podcast, or is this a film podcast?
What do the people want? Give the people what they want.
You tell us. But no, so like when it switches over, when you hit a certain age, and like we weren't thinking that we'd be where we are today when we started liking each other by any means, but like
You probably did.
no, I definitely did. I just didn't want to sound super like clingy. When you begin to date someone and like it could be something long term, like there's finances go into that, like I don't want to like go super in depth of like what was going through our heads by any means, but like were you worried about all right, we're together. I mean, we moved in together pretty quick. Like, what are we gonna do for money? Like, was that ever a thing? Because I had this film degree, $14 an hour, and then what was going through your head?
So I thought that I was going to have to go back to school and get another degree to make more money so that I could afford to support both of us.
Like another degree in addition to your master's, or like the master's is the degree
To get back and get the master's, because like right after we graduated.
I
But
thought
then
you were going to get your master's the whole time.
yes and no. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, part of that was because of the job you had.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I didn't necessarily want to, but
Yeah.
it worked out that I did.
No, it definitely worked
But
out for you.
I thought I was going to have to go back to school again after that.
Yeah. Well, then what happened? So, like, tell me, like, walk me through those last couple of years of, when we graduated. Like, what job were you doing? Like, give me the whole spiel.
So when we graduated, I was working in healthcare. I was working overnight shifts, so I was working 12-hour overnights. You were working 12-hour days. And, I liked my job. I made good money. Was in healthcare, and then I did that for several years.
Well, I think it's important to say how much you made. I mean, you made $20 an hour.
I made $20 an hour.
Working in healthcare. Like, I think that's relevant for where the story's going. Sorry to
It
cut you off.
it was good money. I made overtime. Like, I made good money. I had a consistent schedule. I could take off when I wanted to, but not really.
Yeah, you couldn't like free hey, I'm randomly taking this week off. Like, you didn't necessarily have vacation days, but you couldn't overdo it and be gone half the year.
Yeah.
Because the Clark needed you. Like,
Yeah.
you couldn't not show up.
Yeah.
So you were doing that.
So I was doing that, and then I started looking at jobs in my field, and my boss said, well, we'll cover, we'll help you with your master's program. You can stay here, and you can go back and get your degree that you want to get. And I was like, okay, that didn't sound like a bad deal. So I went back, got a master's degree, started working on that. It's
master's degree in what?
molecular biology.
Woo!
I know,
she's
right?
Smart.
Smart girl, right?
Sorry for
One of us.
modulating the microphone.
That's cool. See if you can hit it again while you're at it. So graduated with that, and that. Oh my God, I can't focus.
You want to answer that?
Do you want me to?
Just silence it.
I'm gonna silence it.
So while she's doing this, one, we're late on the podcast. Two, I started
Sorry.
recording and my mom called immediately. She just got a phone call and forgot to put her phone on silent.
It was on vibrate.
Awkward.
I'm not audio up.
Who was it?
Rosie.
Oh, okay. Rosie's
I love
sweet.
Rosie.
All right. So at least it wasn't like another family member that was trying to call us. Rosie's adorable. We're not going to talk about Rosie anymore because it doesn't matter. But we do love you, Rosie, if for some reason you're watching this. Okay. So yeah. So you were making $20 an hour. Your boss asked you to stay at the home health care job that you were doing. You were getting your master's in molecular biology. Proceed.
And so I graduated, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm still in healthcare. Like, what am I gonna do?
Actually, hang on. We're missing parts of this story. I promise we rehearsed some of this beforehand. So,
We rehearsed absolutely none of this.
So you were getting your master's degree.
Yeah.
And at this point, like in the middle of that, I had gone freelance. So I had quit the news station. You were working 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., 5 days a week, sometimes 6. And then I was working, for the most part, 12-hour during the days.
We were on opposite schedules.
We were opposite
Completely
schedules. We barely saw each other.
We saw each other on Saturdays and
yeah.
then like part of Sunday because I had to
we had
sleep.
Saturdays free and then Sunday until noonish because you had to.
I had to sleep
get
because
some
I worked
sort of nap or
overnight.
something in. In your relationship, like that sucks. Like you're basically in a long distance relationship at that point, but you live in the same house. Like it wasn't great.
You cohabitate.
So what we did to, combat that was at that point in our career. I mean, we still shoot weddings, but like at that point in the career, weddings was the big thing. I was shooting weddings basically every Saturday, and I needed another shooter one random Saturday, and I was like, hey, do you want to, come help me be a second shooter for this video stuff? And I'm pretty sure you almost smacked the crap out of me.
My
when I said
response
that.
was, I've never used a camera, and absolutely not.
And my response was, it's okay. I'll work twice as hard and maybe show you how to do stuff, but for the most
And
part,
give you
just,
money.
sit there and hold it, and I'll give you cash. Well, I mean, that's the other part of it, too, is that, I could have found somebody else, but, with the types of weddings we were shooting at that point, I, as a solo shooter, could have handled everything, but the people that we were hired by wanted a second shooter. So I really just needed a couple of shots. I was fulfilling a contract, but I basically just needed a second angle during the ceremony. That's mainly what you were there for. So I could have put $400 in some random person's pocket, or I could put $400 in your pocket, and
Which
then
was
benefits both
we
of
owned
us.
a house, so it was still
Right.
both
So
of our pockets.
so we started or I was shooting weddings. Brittany started shooting weddings with me on Saturday, but it was one, out of money, but two, like we needed to see each other. So
that was the only day we had off.
Yeah, so like we were hanging out on Saturdays while shooting these weddings. And like that's the only time that we really saw each other, and it was fun. I mean, you knew nothing about the industry.
Absolutely not. But I got free food, I got free cake, and I got money for doing very minimal work.
Yeah, and I went to school. I didn't learn anything in school, but I have a film degree. But you learned the basics of cameras by shooting 1 day a week for the better part of a year, right? Like, some people go get degrees and they don't know what like aperture is and like how to what's gain, what's ISO, and you grabbed a camera for a couple of weddings and you were like. So, if I do this with this number, this is what that means? And I'm like, wow, look at that.
I don't sound like that.
That's how you sound.
Oh, my God, I sound like this.
Stop. You put me on blast too much, and I don't like it. I'm going to kick you off my podcast. This
Please
is my
do.
podcast.
Please do.
I would actually love for you to be a co-host with me, but we'll get into that later.
We'll see.
So, we were shooting weddings out of necessity, of hanging out, out of money. But you still had, your master's degree. And the plan was always for you to get your master's and then work in your field. So you got your master's. We were still doing the wedding stuff because you could do that even with whatever job you're getting. All right. So what happened? Talk to me about the application process once you had your master's.
Yeah. So once I got my master's, I was like, oh, this will be awesome. Because I had applied for some jobs when I got my undergraduate degree. And they were, oh, we need 17 years experience, but we're going to pay you minimum wage. And I was like, okay, well, that sounds horrible. What if I get my master's degree? That means I have experience. These companies will take me serious. And I can make decent money. And I was like, okay, that doesn't sound like a bad deal. And so right out of school, I had 3 job offers. One was with the fertility clinic. One was basically doing research on bees. And one was doing pesticides. And my highest job offer was $13.12 an hour with a master's degree.
Which is insane.
I was bartending a little bit, fill-in for somebody in that point in time, making about $45 to $50 an hour. And I was going to make babies in a laboratory. I was going to be the fertility specialist that actually did in vitro. And they offered me $13 an hour.
The craziest part about that is that the people, because we looked into all this when you were getting the offers, but the people that get in vitro, they're paying between $50,000 and $100,000 for one cycle. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily take instantly, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, you're the scientist, you know more about this than I do. I'm just going off of memory, but
you're looking at $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 with essentially no guarantees to start.
Right. And the person that's doing it is getting paid
$13 and whatever cents an hour. And they were like, well, we'll give you opportunity to move up. It's like, well, that's great, but opportunity to move up is kind of like exposure bucks. I can't exactly pay my bills off of those.
Exposure bucks, I love it.
Exposure bucks are great.
I have so many of them. I just got to find a way to redeem them.
Send them to the mortgage company. I'm sure they'll love it.
Here you go. My mortgage is paid off now. I have 50 million exposure bucks.
But yeah, so I got those 3 job offers, and I was sitting there figuring it out. I was like, okay, I worked at Panera. I had absolutely I didn't have any pressure. I didn't have any risk. When you're dealing with something like that, it's a pretty high stress job. And I was making almost the same amount of money at Panera as I was to do something like that. The laboratory work probably be 50 to 60 hours a week. There's a lot of restrictions. It's high stress. Or I could work on a Saturday with you and make the same amount of money that I could make working an entire week in a lab.
Yeah.
And even though I had never thought about going into film, it made more sense because, well, why would I want to have 1 free day a week, 2 free days a week if I could have 5 free days a week or 6 free days a week?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's that part of it too, and I remember when all this went down that the jobs that you were offered weren't necessarily a path to get to the career that you wanted. So you wanted to do the alternative cancer research. Being a fertility, I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly what it was called, but the jobs that you were offered, you could move up, but you're not going to move up to the job that you want to do.
In maybe 15 years, I could have gotten there.
Maybe. And that's a hard maybe. But. So it's not even because yes, that's very low money, especially with a master's degree, but you can sell your soul if you eventually get to the job that you want to get to, but at least I didn't see a path that you could get to the job that you wanted to get to from there. And, so you're shooting the weddings, the money part of it was fine. So you were still looking for jobs, but we weren't desperate to take one because we were making more money than we would with one of these jobs, or you were making more money than you would with literally 1 day, and you started doing other stuff too. But like, it just didn't make any sense at all. And then we haven't necessarily done this story yet, but like the stuff that the caring, the alternative research, like the stuff that you wanted to do in a lab, we can actually tell the stories now through film. Like we've been on projects where it's not exactly that, but like it's close. So like it's kind of like a weird roundabout way to get you to the same position. Like you're trying to help people. Well, some of the videos that we've made have legitimately helped people. Not necessarily in the way that you set out when you enrolled at KU however many years ago, but at least it's something. And you liked it. Like, I mean, tell me, like, you're in it now, so like I'm sorry if you hate it, but like back then, did you actually like doing the stuff we were doing?
It was fun, and I couldn't believe that people got paid to do it. Like, I didn't know that that was even an option.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you didn't always have fun.
I had a really bad teacher when I started.
Oh yeah, you had the worst teacher in the world. But I vividly remember when I did the movie with the YouTubers and all that stuff in St. Joe. I don't know if we can say names.
It's cool. We'll just go St. Joe feature.
They needed, they put out, hey, we need more PAs for whatever day. Who's got somebody? And I don't remember if you still worked at Clark's or not, but like you were off for whatever reason. And so I was like, it was like $150. I was like, yeah, Brittany, like, you want to do this? And you're like, yeah, sure.
And I was like, okay, I'll make $150 to go like stand there.
Yeah. So I mean, you were a PA on the budget of that was like $2 million. I'll just let you tell this story. Like you signed $2 million movie, you're a PA, they line you up, and boom, fill in the rest.
Yeah. So I had no idea what to expect.
This is your first job, like
on an actual set. So I had no idea what to expect. I was nervous as hell. Yeah. Drove up there, and I was like, okay, this will be cool. So they pretty much grabbed all the PAs. They basically put us in a line. They split us down the middle. The guys went this direction, and the girls went this direction. And I was like, I mean, that seems a little sexist, but like whatever you want to do. I mean, I'm getting paid, so I don't care. I'll do whatever. And they sent all the girls to the art department, and they sent all the guys to camera, where everything was filming, that direction. And we, there was 10 of us, and they kind of split us up a little bit. But all of the girls went to basically carry things around and make things look pretty. So there was a couple of girls that their only job was to hang up posters, because we were making a gymnasium scene, and their job was to go around and hang up posters like it would be in a high school. And then my job was, I'm pretty sure this girl was out to get me, and I never met her, so I didn't know what she did. She made me carry textbooks from the bottom floor of this school to the top floor of this school for 3 hours straight by myself.
3
hours by myself. Put them up there. They were getting ready to shoot a scene up there. And then she goes, oh, just kidding. We're not actually going to do that. You can carry them all back downstairs.
But
And then Lucas comes over and goes, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm doing what I'm told.
Well, hang on. Don't sell this moment short, because this is one of my favorite moments in film history. Like, I was excited because you were on set with me. Like, it was fun. Like, don't get me wrong. I like shooting weddings with you. But, like, we were on a big set. There was a lot, like, there was money thrown around. Like, it was fun being on that set. And I was super excited that you were there, too. And we had a break from whatever we were doing. And so I came to find you. And I was super excited, peppy. And then someone told me you were upstairs or something. I don't know. However, I found you. But we met on the middle of the stairs, and you were, had a bunch of books in your hand, which, that wasn't weird that you had the books in your hand. But you had this look on your face like I had just done the worst thing in the world. And I was like, oh, my gosh, like, what is going on? Like, is she not having fun? Is she not having a good time?
Absolutely not.
And, you looked at me, and there was a moment where I thought you were going to throw all the books that you were carrying into my arms, and I was going to fall down the stairs with, 30 pounds of books and just, like, break my neck or something like that. Yeah, I felt so bad that, like, I brought you onto this job. Like, hey, it'll be fun. Like, this is how it's been up to this point. And then, like, you got a completely different experience on this. And I was just like, oh, my gosh, I'm so sorry. But you couldn't have hated it that much, because you did come back to be an extra.
Yeah, they asked me back to be an extra for a couple of nights. It was cold.
Yeah.
But I also got paid to do that. And all I did was stand in the background.
You got pizza?
I did. I got cold pizza.
That's the
and
best
I
part
froze
about being
my
an
feet
extra.
off.
Cold pizza. It's where it's
But
at.
It was cool, right?
That scene was actually super dope. I mean, they admittingly did kind of screw over the extras a little bit, which is how long they got there, or how early they had to get there, and like sitting around, and it was freezing, and there wasn't a whole lot of like warm options and whatnot.
I also had no experience with any of that, so like I didn't know any difference. I was like, oh, this is how this works. All right, this is movies. Sick. You carry textbooks and you stand in the cold.
Right, yeah, like everyone's favorite, standing in the cold doing nothing. But no, so that was your first, little bit in, we were doing the weddings, but then, you started I don't think you ever really PA'd because I was just getting you on my jobs. You were just my AC after that. Like,
I think I've PA'd twice.
right, yeah. Like, I mean, as a DP, I have most times when I get on a job, I get to select the crew. Like, it's not like, I recommend these people. Like, 98% of the time, I'm like
98? Exactly?
97.6.
0.6.
I'm like, these are the people I want, and they get hired. And so I basically immediately just was like, no, this is my AC, like across the board. Like, whether it was reality, whether it was doc, whether it was commercial, whether we were doing something narrative, like, you were my AC. You were pulling focus. You were doing whatever.
Which I was very fortunate for that, because I know a lot of times people have to, work their way up and do things.
We both got lucky with, like, just steps that we got to skip. But, like, you're dealt the hands that you're dealt, and you make the most of them, right? Like, I'm not going to... No, Brittany, you need to pay your dues and be a PA for a little bit. But I know you're more than capable of doing this AC job, but, like, you're going to PA for 2 years before I'm actually going to hire you.
Fuck the system.
Fuck that.
Fuck the system.
The whole system's corrupt.
Yeah,
you tell him, Banana. That's our bird. Yeah, so you were ACing. You were fantastic at it. You always had been. And then COVID hit. And, we freaked out a little bit, and as everyone did. And, like, we were like, crap. Like,
because we were both full-time.
Yeah, we were full-time freelance, and there was
I was no longer in healthcare.
Like, we were freaking out.
We needed
money.
Neither of us had a regular paycheck.
Well, yeah, and at that point, we had savings, but, like, we weren't.
We had 20-year-old savings, 21-year-old savings.
I say we, it's more me. I was irresponsible. I still am irresponsible with money because I'm impulsive, but, like, like, we were freaking out. We were like, how are we going to, like, we had a house, like, we had the dogs, like, we were like, how are we going to afford all of these things? And then we started getting hit up, or I guess not necessarily you right off the bat, but, like, I started getting hit up to do these jobs, and people were really weary about the amount of people that were going to be on set. So, like,
and where they came from. Like,
so,
how many households you were mixing.
Right. So, like, if a shoot typically had, like, let's just say 7, 8, 9, 10, 6, whatever people, they were really worried about shoot getting shut down because they had 6+ different households with 6+ different households germs coming in together. And so, they were vocal about this, which I appreciated. And so I, hey, like, I see your concerns. I have all the gear that this shoot needs because I had a bunch of camera stuff, all the lighting stuff, everything, whatever. And the person that typically ACs for me is my girlfriend, and we live together. So, like, my germs are her germs. So, like, if I'm positive for COVID, she's more than likely positive for COVID. But also, if I'm negative for COVID, she's negative for COVID. And producers love that because we came in, because production as a whole, I'm really thirsty this morning. Production as a whole, crew size shrunk. And, like, I'm not saying that the quality diminished by any means, but people didn't necessarily care. So, like, if a job needed 10 people, they were cutting it down to 4. And they were just like, whatever,
It's good enough, but...
It's not a good enough, but, like,
they want the product, but don't...
Right, like, I don't know how to say that without making it sound like people were throwing away money, but, like, people were cool with smaller crews, and whatever struggles that came with. So we started pitching ourselves as, look, the two of us can show up. Where, we were isolated basically from everybody because it was just the two of us living at the house. We can do all of these jobs. We had a bunch of experience, of, like, moving lights. And, like, we can do all of these jobs because most of these jobs during that time were just interviewing B-roll.
Yeah.
And so we just started making cash. Like, we found a niche. Like, we were, like, this, dynamic duo that just, we went in, people... Like, we were even producing stuff. Like, people, like, remember all the UK shoots that were, like, they would just send us, hey, this is the storyline, this is who you're talking to, these are the locations,
Figure the rest. It out.
And we were like, sweet, let's go. And like, I know a lot of people struggled during COVID, but we made a lot of money during COVID.
Because we could adapt.
Yeah, we adapted.
We had to change what we were doing, change how we thought about it, and then made it work, because that's what this is.
We switched the business model, but, so we made all the money, but the other part of that is that you were opping in weddings and stuff like that, and, like, opping every now and then on whatever. But because, we came into micro crews, not everything was one cam. So, like, you started grabbing cinema cameras. You started grabbing the FX9s. You started grabbing the Aries. Like, you were opping these not mirrorless cameras like we were using at weddings. Like, you were opping these big cameras, shouldered up, moving around, setting up. And, like, you became a full-fledged op, during COVID. And you never look back. Like, that's one of my favorite things in the world is that, like when we go out and, like, we A cam, B cam, or DPB cam. Like we're on set together, and like we're both shouldered up, and I can look over at you, and we have like that telepathic like all right, this is what the move is. Like this is where we're going next. Like I don't even know if I vocalized this to you, sweetie, but like
you just call me sweetie?
Like that's so much fun. Like I have like friends and stuff, you know, that I've obviously like, you know, opt with and whatnot. But like I don't know them like I know you. You know, I know everything about you. Well, I think I know everything about you.
Do you?
So like we're just on a different wavelength than, you know.
Power couple.
Power couple, power thirst. Do you remember those commercials on
Yes.
YouTube? Those are so funny. We should play that during this video.
Do
Probably
it.
get sued, but it's okay.
That's cool.
But yeah, so like you gained all this experience opping on a bunch of different stuff, commercials, reality shows, docs, like everything.
And I didn't even realize it. I was just
No.
like, oh yeah, you know, okay, so I normally, you know, just set up the camera and set up the batteries, and then it was like, oh hey, grab this, or oh hey, do this, and I just learned on the fly, which just shows you that you don't necessarily need to go to film school. You can just learn as you go, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Oh, no, I mean, you're definitely well, no, because you get mad at me sometimes when I don't explain things to you, because I'm very hands-on learning. That's why I didn't go to class in college. You're hands-on.
Is that why you didn't go to class in
because
college?
I was high off my ass 95% of the time. But you're a hands-on learner. Like, you do, like, a little bit of information, and you've gotten mad at me.
I'm hands-on, but I need the science behind why it works.
And
So I'm hands-on, but if you're like, oh, set this at 5,500, I'm like, well, what does that number mean? And you're like, it looks good. And I'm like, that's not good enough. Tell me what that means, and then I'll do it.
Yeah, we fight over this all the time.
It's fantastic.
This podcast rant could get very bad very quickly. Because, I mean, the first job that you opt, you were like, well, what do I do? I was just like, well, like, if you see me standing here, you stand there, and, like, we just move around as people move around, and we just go. And, like,
That was all the instructions I got from you was push record and then just pretend that it's like a mirror. Like, if I'm here, you go over here. And we just made eye contact the entire time, and if I saw you move, I just moved in the opposite direction. And you were like, that was good. I was like, so I don't even have to know what to do. I just have to follow you.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Follow your lead.
That's why I get paid more. One, because I'm a man. And
Oh,
two,
you want to go into that rant?
we'll go there in a minute.
Oh, I got
We'll
some
go there
funny
in a minute.
stories with that one.
No, but I mean, like, that's as the A cam or as the DP, like whatever it ends up being, you are the leader. Like, you are the one that goes. So like, it was the same thing at the weddings where I asked you to come and you were like, well, I don't know how to do this. And I was like, you'll be fine because I'm there with you. It's not like you were going out by yourself and you were like a lost puppy. Like, we were both there. When you're doing multicam, you can hide a lot of mistakes because like if you're not in the exact right spot and you need to shift to get to the right spot or whatever, they can cut to my angle. Mm-hmm. So like as long as you don't move while people are talking, which that was the one piece of information that I did explicitly say to you. It's like if someone's talking, don't move. But once they're done talking, move to where like we're telepathically
Yeah,
talking.
and I can make eye contact and know that I should go without having to be like, oh, am I going the right direction, or oh, am I doing what I'm supposed to do?
Right, like and it's
just know.
again, it's a mirror thing. Like so, you have the 180-degree rule line. If I'm 3 feet off the line and 4 feet back from the person, you need to do the same thing on the other side. So like, I've opted with other people that I'm here in one position, like where I need to be, and the other person's almost in like a 2-shot, like a 45-degree angle, and like that shot's okay for a cutaway. But, like, when we're in the meat of it, like, I need you to be exactly where I am, just the other side. And I didn't know how to vocalize that to you. And so that first day that you opt on whatever show that was, I do remember that you wanted to kill me. Like, I think you, like, we were, like, ready to leave the hotel room, and you were like, oh, I'm going to kill it. Like, and I was just like, this is going to be a really great day.
But you're not going to learn that unless you get thrown into it.
No.
Reality television is very good at that.
No, reality TV is great at that, and a lot of people give a lot of shit to reality television. But I learned more in reality television than I learned in college. I've learned more than I've learned on commercial sets. Like in reality TV, I think that the best people across the board at every position work in reality television because the unknown, the quick thinking, the on your feet, all that stuff. Yeah. Like if you don't have that in reality television, you're not going to last. And you, not to say that someone that can't shoot reality can't do something good elsewhere, but like when you take the lessons that you learn in reality and like how to quick think and like when a change happens and like you don't freak out over the change, like that translates to commercial, it translates to doc, it translates to narrative, like it translates to everything. Because I mean we've been on so many sets that like the unexpected happens,
yeah,
and you don't know what like there's just so much unknown, and it's like I've seen a lot of people crumble and they're like, oh crap, something different, we don't have this piece, we don't have this crew position, we don't have whatever, and they like freeze and they melt, where someone like you and I
we're like, oh, we can just change it a little bit, we'll make it work, like don't miss a beat.
And that's how it was on Finding Adventure was
Yeah.
that the people that they had worked with before us, like, I don't even know who they are, so it's not like I'm talking shit on anybody. It's just more of a general thought. But, like, you know, they'd be like, like, we had our AC quit on us the first day that we were out there. And not because of us. It was just because he was an idiot. But they were, like, freaking out that because we didn't have an AC, we couldn't do our jobs. And it's like, I'm more than capable of grabbing my own battery. I'm also more than capable of transferring this footage tonight while we find a new AC. And they were like, wait, really? Because, like, this has happened in the past, and people, like, freak out. Like,
And then our audio app was sick. So not only did we go down an AC, we went down an audio app too. And we were like, oh, it's cool. Lucas is like, I'll just sling the bag over my shoulder and we'll just make it work. Because
yeah, I went.
know how to make
I
it work.
went DP audio, and you were op AC.
Yeah.
So, like, we had a system, and we figured out, but that's because we work so much together, and because we live together, and we're compatible. We work together. It just works. I forgot about the audio thing. That's so funny. I totally forgot about that.
How could you forget about that? We went from having like 6 people to having like 3, and it was like a giant interview, backstory, very important day on the show.
But
and
we always had Nick.
Us. Nick, shout out to Nick. Nick, we
Nick?
love you.
Oh, man, I do love Nick. I want to get him.
I hope we see him soon.
Well, we are going to see him
I
soon. We're
know.
going to see him in February. We're shooting a show in February. It's like a month and a half, and this guy that we absolutely love is, I don't know what position he's getting, but he's going to be on it one way or another, and I'm ecstatic.
With it.
I'm with it. Shout out to you, Nick.
Nick, you're awesome.
I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
At
At Nick tagged. Pay attention. That's all we got to say. But yeah, what we were
Just talking about reality and like it's just being able to adapt. Like it teaches you on the go, on the fly. You know,
Right.
You could second up and learn as much as you need to learn.
Yeah.
That way, if you are on a commercial set where everything is set for you and perfect, and you have a massive budget, and you know the lights are perfect, and the people are perfect, and the talent's perfect, and everything is arranged perfectly, if something goes wrong, you don't freak out and go, "Oh my God, it's over."
Yeah.
Like you're just like, "Oh, well, this is easy. I can fix this."
Yeah, I mean, when you see the images that some of these people can make with no budget, and then, you know, those people get on a set that they have unlimited budget, like, their work is fantastic. And it's for that exact reason, because they, you know, have dealt with nothing their entire careers, or a lot of their careers, or when they were learning, and then all of a sudden they have everything, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm a kid in a candy store, like, let's go. Point being, you know, full circle moment that, like, you don't have a film degree.
No one's ever asked me if I went to school for film.
Right, like, no one's ever asked you any of that kind of stuff. You had a different job. You never intended on getting into this, but you just took a leap. You got into it, and now you run a company with me, and
I've been full-time for 4 years?
Yeah, like it's
4 years now?
Yeah, like that's actually crazy to think
4
about
years
how
now?
time is.
Whoa.
Woof.
We haven't killed each other yet. Like,
Stop going low fives. I got to see it on
fine.
camera. High five.
sorry, it's behind your freaking Lego statue you had to put in the middle of the table.
Oh yeah, this is a perfect little segue. So this is my Joel Embiid action figure that I love. This is my Venom Lego bust that Brittany got me for Christmas that I love. Venom's one of my top 3 favorite characters. That's like the coolest thing in the world. And then that's my teapot from my grandma's women's club meeting. So, yay! Go us! Art decoration. And then you have this massive cable problem back here behind us. And Christmas decorations and all the things. But yeah, so back to what we're actually talking about. So you know, over COVID, developed a massive resume. Like, once production came out, it was like 2 years that you were opping. And you had developed a resume, you had like references, like all the things. And then I remember how long ago it was, but the job, you know, like I said, I have most of the pull of like, hey, these are the people that are coming with me. And we did a job that wanted to vet everybody. And I was like, okay, like whatever. So I sent over Brittany's stuff, or Brittany sends over her stuff. I didn't send it over. You sent it over. And they were like questioning you.
I was the only one that got 50 questions to get hired.
What were all 50 of those questions?
I don't know. First off, probably started with, are you a girl? Because I think that's why they had issues.
Well, they did talk to you on the phone, so I would hope that they would know that you're a
no.
girl from talking to you on the phone.
But
And your name's Brittany.
it was like I wasn't capable of, they were questioning whether I was capable of doing the job, even though they had my resume and everything.
Yeah.
And then I remember the lady saying, okay, well, just so you know, you're going to have to be shouldered up with the camera on your shoulder for, up to 8 hours a day. And I said, do you think that I could have done all the jobs that I've done if I wasn't capable of doing that?
Right. Like
and that was finally the end of this. She realized that I was very irritated with her and was like, okay, yeah, we'll get back to you.
Your resume isn't a bunch of like passion projects. Like you've worked on network TV shows, full seasons of stuff that like everyone knows. Like you didn't come with a resume with a bunch of made up things, and you didn't come with a resume that said, here's my resume. In these jobs, I have been DIT, AC, audio. Like, you didn't, like, give a blanket, like, I've worked on set this many times.
I said, this is what exact direct experience you need.
Right, and, like,
I PA'd on this feature, and I'm going to stick it in there.
Right. I've never been asked any questions like that. The only time I got asked questions like that is if we do anything that's, like, very physically demanding. But, like, that's for anybody. Like, are you cool being in the freezing cold?
Are you cool climbing a mountain?
Are you cool climbing a mountain? And my response is no, but Brittany is, and I can fly the drone.
Are you cool ziplining across the top of this canyon?
Yes.
No.
Can I run zipline where my feet are touching the ground at all times?
No.
Oh. Well, that's
here, Brittany, take the camera.
Yeah, that's what you're for. Like, well, again, it's knowing your team. But yeah, like I've never been asked anything from a resume. They go, okay, cool, resume's good, go. And you have the same credits that I do. Well, not all the same, but like mostly the same. Like for the last 2 years, if I want a show, you're also on the show. If commercial stuff doesn't really look for resumes because they more or less just, okay, this is who you want, take it. We're talking more shows more than anything. But like as a woman, like how is it being on set? Because like you're more times than not, you're the only woman on set. I mean, if it's production that we're running, that's not the case. But like on stuff that other people are running, you're more or less the only woman that's on there. So what has that experience been like?
Well, it's always funny because I get a call sheet. If they send the call sheet ahead of time, and that's the first thing I do is I scan for women's names. I want to see if there are any women and what positions they're in. Yeah. Because I like to see that. I know going in, okay, not that it matters either way. Yes, you can have my water. And I always scan the call sheet first, so I just am curious. And if I'm lucky, there's like one woman. And
if you're lucky.
If I'm lucky, and if not, like it's totally cool. Like I'm more than capable. I always had hobbies that were male driven. Like, what, isn't that funny to you?
Nothing at all.
I was always into sports and things like that. And so I'm used to it.
Pause. That was one of the reasons that I was attracted to you, was because you had a lot of the same interests as me. But I almost cried when you told me that you suck at basketball, because I love playing.
I am 5 foot tall.
It doesn't matter.
I'm really good at softball.
Listen, Isaiah Thomas, you know how tall he is, and he's playing with like 6'6" guys. Like, well, actually, he's not in the league anymore, so that was a horrible example. But he's old though. Anyways, but like I like playing basketball. I very much enjoy playing basketball. And I remember one of the first days I was like, "Hey, you want to go play basketball?" And you were like, we had played catch and like did all this other stuff like. It sounded like you're a dog. Oh my god.
I play catch?
I
didn't fetch.
We had done things,
We've done things.
Oh my gosh, this is so bad.
I'll just take back over. Lucas thought it was cute because I liked hobbies, but I didn't play basketball with him.
Yeah, and it sucked.
I suck at basketball.
And she was really bad at basketball, and she made it too easy for me to block her, even though she was only 5 feet tall. Anyways, that was a dumb segment. Just continue.
But back to where we were going. And there's never as many women on set as there are men. I remember the Finding Adventure show, I was really, really excited because there was like the producer was a woman and there were other people that were women on set in non-typical women roles.
Yeah, I mean, typically when I go on, or when we go on shoots, if a woman's on set, maybe a producer, maybe, and then art department in general, there's usually mainly women, depending on how big the department is. And then, I mean, I know one female audio operator, you, and then, I mean, I know there are a couple of female cam ops in Kansas City. I've never personally worked with them, so I don't, like, I can't speak about it, experience because I don't have experience with them, but like.
And I was looking the other day, and women are still outnumbered 1 to 5 in the film industry, and only 10% of head of departments are female, all the way across the board. And so it's not common. And they say the numbers are getting better, but they're getting better like 0.5% a year, and then it goes down, and so it's not actually getting any better. It's
weird how it works though, because like I don't get it, because like just from cam op stuff, like like which is the problem with like, why would a woman not be good at this or want to do this? The only thing that would matter is height. Like, at the end of the day, like, I'm no stronger than any other person in the world. Like, I'm not some, it's not like you go to a shoot and the cam ops are these big buff, like, statue of men that, like, I can hold the camera on my shoulder for 20 hours.
Normally
like,
they're stoners and skinny jeans.
Right, exactly. Like, like, there's nothing that a woman couldn't do that I am doing on that. The only thing is a physical disadvantage, which would be height, but you've obviously overcome that.
You can
I mean, I'm 6 feet tall, you're 5 feet, and you could watch anything that we've shot and you wouldn't know whose camera's angle is who because of the height differential and shit like that. There's ways to adapt. So it's so weird to me that like women are put in a box and they're like, these are the jobs that you're allowed to have. And if the jobs that that we're talking about are jobs that you want to do, that's totally fine. I'm not saying that a woman shouldn't be a producer. I'm not saying a woman shouldn't be an art department, but like the fact that women are kind of expected to only be in those positions is weird to me. And part of that is because of you, that like you've always been on set and you've always been better than the people that you're, competing with for the jobs. Like it just doesn't make sense to me why it's a thing.
Well, women always have a role where they're supposed to be like a figure that is to be, like you're supposed to be an example figure. You're supposed to be this, but you're not necessarily supposed to be authoritative. Like you're not supposed to be in the role that a man is in a household. And so I personally think that women are put in specific positions that aren't necessarily authoritative. They don't need to give direction because a lot of men still won't take direction well from women.
Yeah.
Which
again is weird because that's not how our house runs. Like
it's changing.
Hopefully it's a change thing and it's like it's an age thing and like because the industry is still typically people that are older.
Yeah.
Like
when you hear DP
plus.
though, you hear white man.
Oh,
typically.
100%.
That is what it is. That's
100%.
what you see in pictures. If you picture it in your head, you're going to see a white man.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's changing. It's just not changing fast enough because women don't know that they're capable of doing these positions because they've never seen it. It's that representation, the lack of representation.
Well, they've also been told for so long that like
stay in your lane.
You can't do it. Like here's the arts and crafts. Like this didn't happen at KU, so I'm not citing like a specific example, but like I could see a situation in a film school where like you have a bunch of women, a bunch of men, and they kind of like naturally are just like, here, we're going to teach you more arty things. We're going to teach you more about color schemes.
That's how it is with kids, even kids
design.
Growing up. Hey, you take these dolls, you take this crafts, and the men, hey, you go play in the dirt. You go build things. You go do things with your hands, whereas the women are just told, do things that are creative, but like kind of keep to yourself in that
do
lane.
Stuff that's creative, but do it so it makes a man's creative project
work
better, as opposed to your own independent thing.
It's like, hey, prop up this person versus prop up yourself, which is crazy.
It is crazy. It's insane. Some sort of siren is going on outside our house.
One of my favorite. I'm gonna cut you off because I'm a woman and I can do that. One of my favorite. I got on this feature, and it was there was a lot of us there. You were DPing it a couple years ago. We were really excited. We show up on set, and I was gonna AC.
Ow.
I was pulling focus. I was super freaking excited. There was a decent budget to it. We had
It was a dope project.
It was kind of dope. We had private planes. Like we had all kinds of stuff. Like it was dope. I was super excited. I showed up on set. And, I had my focus puller kit. I had all my shit with me. And I showed up on set, and this guy comes up to me, and he goes, okay, the PAs are over there. And I looked at him, and I was like, where's camera department? Because that's where I belong. And he just looked at me and was like, and that was the end of that.
You knew exactly where camera department was.
Well, yeah, I did, but somebody comes up to you and says, oh, the PAs go over there. Like, he's lucky I didn't tell him to fuck off. Like, that's not funny.
Told him to fuck off.
Like, caught me off guard, because you don't expect that.
You didn't tell me that till after the shoot was over, or else I would have said something, because that shit drives me fucking crazy. And that's not a boyfriend stance. That's just, I would do that for anybody. Like, if someone is going to do shit like that on a set that I'm a part of, especially as, like, a head of a department, like, nah, fuck that.
I'm the kind of person, though, that like, motivated me. Like, it pissed me off.
Yeah.
But it made me go, okay, well, now I'm going to do an even better job to show you that I deserve my position and I'm capable of it.
Yeah.
And you go back to whatever little department you were in and leave me alone. Like.
Yeah, you're funny. You do better when you're under pressure.
Yes.
But you, like, up until you have to do it, you freak out under pressure. But then once you actually have to do it, you're, like, zoned in.
I'm competitive.
Do you remember when we did, it was the DJ scene of Sapiens, and we had that really hard jib move that was, the top, and it moved around a bunch. It shit. And you had a take in it that, like, was good enough, but you, like, were pissed. And
I was like, no, we're going to do this again.
Yeah, it was the end of the day. We were fast on time, so, like, we had plenty of time to do stuff, so we just kept doing this move over and over and over and over and over again, and you couldn't get a take that you liked that was in focus. You had more than enough takes that were good. But you like wanted one where everything was perfect and crisp, and we weren't using cine tapes. Like you were literally doing everything by eye and repetition and marks and shit like that. And it wasn't working. And then I turned to you and I went, Brittany, stop sucking. And you gave me a look. And I was like, roll camera, let's go. And we did it, and bam.
What you said was, do you want me to take that from you?
Oh, is that what I said?
Yes.
That's even
you
better.
You said, do you want me to take that from you? I can get it. And I said, no. And that was where that came from.
I'm such a misogynistic asshole.
I know.
I never would have taken it from you, though, because you're better at point focus than I am.
You were just trying to get me to do better and get out of my head is what you were doing, and it worked.
Yeah, because you nailed the next take, and I think we did one more just to have another one, but, like, you killed it. And then we went home. The project came out. It
looks dope.
I don't think the shot made it into the project, but, like, it's okay.
But I got what I needed, and, prove to yourself you can do it.
Yeah, which is what you do. Because you're a badass bitch.
And women belong in the film industry, not just in front of the camera.
In every position.
Every position,
top
equally, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Fight for it.
You gotta fight, bam, bam, for your right.
This is not karaoke.
Da, da, da.
I have not had enough coffee for your shit.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, so, I mean, I do kind of want to pivot a little bit, and we talked about you getting into the industry and, like, what you're doing and whatnot. Obviously, this episode is airing today, and today's the 29th. 2022 is about to be over. So let's do a little bit of reminiscing on the year before we wrap this out. What do you think 2022 was a success overall?
Definitely.
Film-wise.
Definitely.
What was your favorite project?
Honestly, it was Finding Adventure.
You liked Finding Adventure a lot.
That
was up there for me, but I don't think it was my favorite.
Well, it wasn't up there because you don't like heights. You're kind of a baby, so it didn't do it for you.
Yeah, I liked that crew. That crew was awesome.
The crew was awesome. But so that was the first outdoor like adventure type of thing that I've opted up, and nothing like that. And they were like, okay, are you scared of heights? Like, can you do this? And next thing I know, I'm on the side of a Via Ferrata Canyon, like 50 feet up with a camera slung on my shoulder, get ready to catch a shot. And then we went extreme tree climbing, and I was like 100 feet up. I had to pull myself up. I was like 100 feet up in a tree with a camera, like carabiner to my shoulder, shooting, and like it was just really cool because I like outdoorsy, I like adventure, and it was very, in the moment.
Yeah.
But it was awesome.
No, you had a blast. I mean, the BTS picture of you hanging off the side of the mountain with your hands, whipped out like that is probably the greatest picture that's ever been taken of you. I wish I would have been the one that took it, but I wasn't.
Because you were sitting on the ground.
I was flying the drone is what I was doing.
From the ground.
Well, obviously, I'm not going to fly the drone from a plane, but like, that's why we're such a good team, because I'll do anything on the ground. Like, you put me in extreme heat, extreme cold, in danger's way. Like, oh, sure, I don't care. Animals, like, nothing phases me when it comes to on the ground. But you put me with the camera up. If I don't have a camera in my hand, I don't like heights, admittingly. But, like, if I don't have a camera in my hand with enough motivation, I can do it.
Yeah, so I would have to say, hey, Lucas, stop being a baby.
I'm going to take it from you.
Get your ass up there,
but
and then you do it.
But you put a camera in my hand, and instantly I just start thinking about dropping the camera, and I just freeze. So, like, that's why we're such the good tandem, because I was flying the drone, getting the 2 shots that we needed, because you could take 2 camera angles from above, but for the most part, like, the one angle is all you need. So I had the drone that was getting like the big epic wides and like some close-ish up shots, and you were getting the details, and it worked out perfectly for that show. It was great, and we hid my heights problems, because I would have if I had to, because you're paying me at the end of the day. I'll do whatever you ask me to do within reason, but like it worked out perfectly for the way that it was. But
that was probably my favorite.
That was my favorite
Who was
crew.
your favorite?
Admittingly, that was my favorite crew of the year.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, we met a lot of really cool people on that set. My favorite project, I really like going to Aruba.
Okay, that was cool.
Aruba was a fun project. That was our first time in Aruba for anything. So we, half work, half play type deal. That was a fun shoot. I'm trying to think of the other big ones that we did that were really cool. I had one in my head before we started, and now, of course, we're talking about it, and I'm going blank.
Atlantic City was pretty cool.
Oh, Atlantic City was dope. Yeah, we did the card thing in Atlantic City.
Projects.
That was fun. I'm trying to think, what else did we do? Big notable stuff. I had one, and I can't remember what it is. That's so annoying. We'll do a follow-up podcast episode for
You'll remember in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, more than likely. But no, 2022 was a success overall. It was a lot of just put our heads down and grind and make money. where 2023, I'm kind of hoping that we get a little bit more. Like, I would like for us to shoot our own projects more in 2023. I know we have a couple of like feature series ideas that we would like to do, whether we self-finance or we find another way to finance, to be determined. But I would like for that to be our next step. I would like for, us to produce it, write it, all that kind of stuff.
Shoot
it in Kansas City. Because I know that is another one of our goals of 2023 is to be more connected to the community in Kansas City because, we travel a lot. Sometimes it's just me, sometimes it's just you, sometimes it's both of us. But for the most part, we are very rarely in Kansas City working. We're very rarely in Kansas City, period. But like, very rarely are we in Kansas City working, and that's where kind of social media sucks because like we'll be in wherever, and we'll get on Instagram and like we'll see all these people that we really like to work with, and they're like on something really cool together, and it's like, oh, like the crew we're with is cool. Don't get me wrong, and the job we're doing is cool, and it's obviously getting paid. But like, man, I'd love if we could not be here. I'd love if we could just do that in Kansas City, come home at the end of the day, hang out with the dogs. And then go back and do it the next day. So do you have any other goals for 2023 besides that? Individually. Let's go individually for you. Do you want to be a DP? Do you want to become a director? Do you want to do any of that kind of stuff?
I've been doing a little bit more on the producing side lately, and I do like that. I still think I like Cam Opping better than producing, just because, honestly, probably because it's
in the field.
More of a,
Yeah.
It's
not as much computer work.
I don't like that. We both know I'm very technologically savvy.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a wonder that you can handle cameras because you suck at tech. You don't even know your iPhone.
I know enough.
You could change the sensor size, resolution, all that jazz in a mini LF in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But you can't find your Photos app on your phone.
Everyone has an iPhone, though. Not everybody knows how to do a camera. So I'm more motivated to learn it on something that's niche-y.
Point being, though, that like you know a camera inside and out, and any camera really inside and out. But like you pull up your phone, you're like, oh, I took a picture last week. Let me find it, and you're like,
and then I
don't have any photos. I don't have any photos on my phone, Lucas. I lost all my photos, and I'm like, here you go. For people that aren't watching this, I just pretended to click a phone.
Nice.
So that's your goal. So you want to...
The stuff that we do ourselves, I'd like to take on a little bit more of a producing side of it. I'm kind of doing that, but a little bit more on some of the ones that we're doing.
Yeah, I would love to be able to make a company in Kansas City that is like a staple. Part of that as a little bit of motivation, because we get motivated by the same things, but on our last episode, we talked about some companies that aren't treating people correctly, whether it comes to money or other things. So being like the fact that like those people are the ones that are taking over the Kansas City market, and it's like no, that doesn't sit right.
It sucks because
that doesn't sit right.
We like the people we work with, we like our crews, and I hate seeing anybody get taken advantage of or walked all over. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of the big companies, you hear about it more than not. It used to just be like, oh, an occasional little issue.
It used to be individuals. Like this guy came to town, he wanted to shoot a passion project, and then like ghosted everybody. Like that used to happen a good amount.
But now it's like big companies and people, oh, you come into Kansas City, you hear XYZs for names, and those are people are having problems with those.
Yeah, and it's really annoying. It's really weird.
It just sucks. Like it sucks to see people like that. And so I think if we can do what we're doing now, keep expanding it, make sure that everyone is taken care of and heard and paid and respected just as people. Yeah. Because a lot is just disrespectful.
I'd also like people to get opportunities, because like the Kansas City community is so, the film industry as a whole is so cliquey. And so, this is who we hire for every single job. This is how it is. This is how it's going to be. And those people aren't necessarily the best people for the job all the time. And so there's young people that are trying to get their way in, and they're kind of getting jerked around because you don't have experience, so you're going to come and be a PA on our shoot,
and we're not going to pay you.
And it's like, that doesn't sit right well with me, because like we do free jobs, like we've done jobs that we haven't paid people, but we're also not getting paid. Like that's the big thing is that like if my mantra, mission, whatever, is that if I'm getting paid on a shoot, everyone's getting paid on a shoot.
You're also extremely transparent.
Yeah, anybody can come look at my budget sheets whenever they want to when we do stuff, but like, like if you're doing a multi-million-dollar movie or a $100,000 commercial or a $150,000 feature and you're not paying everybody, you're fucking up. You're doing something wrong, and I'm going to end you, because that's not okay. Like that's not cool with me. You and I grew up, in an era where like, you know, music and all this other stuff was very like fuck the man and like, you know, go against the status quo, like the emo forever culture and shit like that. Like, and I grew up in that shit, and like that's how I am. I mean, I'm way more like radical than you are when it comes to this kind of stuff, or at least vocally.
You're vocally more.
Yeah, I'm definitely more vocally, but like that music and like that era and like the stuff I was into, like, you know, back when I was growing up, like that stuck with me because like it's not cool the way that people are treated. It's not cool the way that people are left out. It's not cool the way that, you know, a couple of people screw everyone over and like.
And just because you can take advantage of people, if you're at the top and you could pocket a bunch of money, just because you could do that doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, I mean, we could fuck people over left and right.
But
we don't.
Do that.
Because like we're not assholes. Like there's plenty of shoots where you and I get paid less than other people because we feel bad and it's not okay that someone's getting jerked around. You know, that we throw extra cash to someone, and that's if we're managing budgets and not managing budgets. I've thrown people money out of our gear rental rates because, you know, they got screwed over on their gear rental rates, and so it's like fuck that. Like that just makes no sense at all. Why that's okay. So I think for a goal for that of 2023 for the two of us to become more of a staple, become more vocal, and hopefully invoke some sort of change. I think that's a huge
and it gives
goal.
people a chance too. Like just because you haven't always been the DP that does all the commercial shoots doesn't mean that you can't do that.
Right.
You know, you might be just as talented or more talented, but you're not given a chance because you haven't worked your way up the ladder. Like fuck the ladder. No one likes ladders anyway.
You haven't paid your dues. I had someone tell me that I wasn't old enough to DP a project, and I'm like, I think I was like 28 at that point, but I was like, I'm either good enough or I'm not. Same thing with you with the women stuff. It's like I'm either good enough at the job or I'm not good enough. It doesn't matter, like the color of my skin. It doesn't matter my gender. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Period. Yeah. Like I mean,
all you should look at is my resume. I wish I could put my resume out there without my name or my picture tied to it. Like I wish we could find a way to anonymously.
What's the most male name ever?
Robert.
You think Robert because it's Dick? Wow, you're so childish. Oh my god. All right, Dick Laney is gonna send his resume in, and we'll Photoshop a picture of you, and you'll be jacked. You'll be like 6'2", everything I wish I was. Well, I wish I was 6'6". So you'll be 6'4". We'll meet in the middle, jacked, ready to go, and we'll Photoshop a massive like IMAX camera on your shoulder and see what people do.
I guarantee you, if you put two resumes that were identical, for some jobs, not all jobs, up against each other, one had a male name, one had a female name. I bet you, unless there was a female that was doing the hiring, they would always pick the male.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to put money on that. I would love to do that.
Oh, I would too. And all the proof that you need on that is like the Facebook groups that we're in. Sometimes people are like, hey, I need a crew of all women, or oh, hey, I need a crew of all minorities. Like they're asking for very specific types of crews. And the comment section gets lit up by white men that are like, this is so ridiculous that you're going to hire only women. It's like, well, there's all the proof that you need that, you know, because the names that are in there are the people that are, you know, they're looking for other crew in other places. And it's like, okay, so you don't want an all-female crew because you're a misogynistic fuck.
And all these comments you're making are the exact reason why they don't want white men typically on those shoots, because you're obviously not able to respect whatever content it is that there's sensitive content. You're not able to respect that, and you're not able to handle the fact that you are not the first pick for a job. It's like, congratulations, you're always the first pick for a job. Give somebody else a chance.
Right. I mean, the shoot never ended up happening, but do you remember when we got hit up to do that that little mini doc on the lady who was getting the abortions? Mm-hmm. And they wanted, they hit me up. They asked me to DP it, but it was only because they couldn't find a female. Mm-hmm. And I had suggested you. I was like, you know, like she's more of a cam op than a DP at this moment, but she's more than capable of DPing what it is that you're looking for. And she appreciated that. Like I could, and I wasn't on the shoot anymore. Sorry, excuse me. I'm so burpy today.
That's gross.
I'm sorry to everyone listening to this.
No one's still listening to this.
No, they're 100% done. But I could have gotten upset because I was no longer on the job, or I could have been like, yeah, that completely makes sense that for that story, me, a man, shoving a camera in someone's face in a clinic who's getting abortion or got an abortion. I don't remember exactly what the like timeline of things was, but like she probably wouldn't have been this open, you know, to like talking and whatnot if I show up with the camera like, hey, let's go. But a woman shows up. Yeah. And it's perfect. Like, it's all relative. Yeah. Like, and you can get mad about the fact that you're not the right person for the job, or
But at the end of the
You
day,
just be cool with it.
in 2021, only 6% of cinematographers are females.
Look at you coming with statistics.
I know, I didn't write them down, but I have them in my head. 6%. So if
That's that science brain.
I know, right? Got the numbers. So 6% of women get all of the cinematography jobs. I think you could sit down and mind your place so that someone else can have an opportunity.
6%?
6% in 2021 was the last time I found it. Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of female DPs that I know, or at least know of.
I follow like 2 on Instagram, and they're not from the United States.
So I can think of one.
They're from like Europe somewhere.
But other than that, I can't really think of anybody else. Okay, no, I've got two.
You got 2?
Because remember the company that rented my cameras out for that dog thing?
Yeah.
She was a female.
But she wasn't from here.
No.
They flew
Oh,
her
we're
in,
talking
right?
just Kansas City?
Oh, no, I'm just...
I was talking just in general. Yeah. I can only think of 2 off the top of my head. And I don't even know them. I just know of them. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. 6%.
And that's the numbers that they're bragging about that are going up. You know, the representation is increasing. Like, we're getting more. It's like, but 0.2% of an increase each year when 51% of the population are women.
Yeah.
Isn't a good number.
And you can't even talk about it being a physical thing when it comes to cinematography, because I know a lot of cinematographers that don't even touch the camera. Yeah. They just sit behind a monitor and tell people what to do. So, like, you tell me a woman can't do that?
Women are really good at telling people what to do.
Well, yeah.
Because we have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you dress like this every day.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, our household, you're definitely the boss. Which is cool. I'm cool with it. So when am I going to be a stay-at-home dog dad?
Depends when I become one of those 6%.
Oh! Mic drop. We could end on that note, but we're not going to, because we're going to talk a little bit longer.
What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
You excited to go to Ireland?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty fun. That's one of our jobs. We'll be there for a couple of weeks. That'll be a fun job.
We'll be there for a couple of weeks, and then I may or may not have extended our flights out another week so we could go to Wales and Scotland as a vacation.
Wait, since when are we going to Wales?
That's how what's what we're doing after Ireland.
I thought we were going to Edinburgh.
No. Well, so you take it's either a boat to Wales and then a train.
Oh, you're talking about okay, we're going to do the whole tour of all of
Well,
it.
that's how you get there. Is you take a ferry to one and then a train to the other.
I thought you meant like we were going to Wales and not going to Edinburgh.
See, and this is why I'm the boss, is because I already booked all this stuff and you don't even know where we're going.
It's like a little Christmas present.
Lucas is so organized. That's why the where's the call sheet is the most accurate.
That's why we're recording this, and
ever.
it's 11:34, and I need to release this in an hour and 26 minutes.
Honestly, that's earlier than you do most things. Today means do today.
I mean, whenever I cut the reels, I literally do them in the morning, and then I post them like right afterwards. I could just cut all of them and have them ready to go, but I don't.
We both know Lucas isn't that organized.
Because I suck.
You don't suck. You just do things differently.
Yeah, I do things different.
You just have a creative brain.
I'm too worried about sticking it to the man.
But really, that's kind of the goal of this.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. That, and I'm too busy playing with Marvel crap and reading comic books and all the other stuff.
But yeah, on a more serious note, though, you don't have to have a film degree. You don't need to go to school for anything.
We can full circle.
You don't need to be a white man. You can be any sort of female. You can be any color. You can be anything you want to be. And as long as you are confident in what you do, that's all that matters. You can do it.
Yeah.
You don't even have to necessarily know what you're doing at first. You just have to be confident. You get someone to take a chance on you and then work your way up.
Yeah, I mean, I have a film degree and I don't need my film degree. I've never once been asked for it, and I skipped all my classes. So it's not like and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Like, when I graduated, you do your individual school graduation, and I showed up to whatever building we were supposed to show up to, and you meet with all the film people, and the fucking professor, the head of the KU film whatever at the time, was like, I don't think you're in the right place. This is the Film and Media Studies. And I'm like, hi, I'm Lucas Cohen. My name is right there. And every single person turned their head, and I knew one person of all the people that were there. One person. That's how
worth that debt, right?
That's how much. Oh, it's so worth it. That's how much
But
class I skipped. I did meet you. So no, I have no regrets. I have no regrets. Not a bit. I mean, I went to Arizona first, which is where the majority of my debt came from. But no, coming back to KU is the smartest decision I ever made, because I met you. I saw basketball games. I mean, outside of you and basketball, I don't really know exactly what else I got out of KU.
Bars.
Well, no, we had fun. Like, I have a ton of memories, but, like, as everyone does, like, we graduated college and all our friends disappeared.
Moved out of state.
Yeah, they all moved out of state, and, like, you try really hard, and, like, we met up with them for the first couple of years. Like, we tried, but then life gets busy, and people start getting married, people start having kids, and it's just, like, hell, there's people in Kansas City that I have been friends with forever that I barely see because life is just life. I mean, Trevor's, probably the oldest friend that I have. And And he's got 2 kids, and like we talk, via memes and whatnot every day, but like I very rarely see them. But he's one of my best friends, and his kids are awesome, and Kayla's awesome. She's also one of my best friends, and because I've also known her forever. So life just gets weird, man. And then we travel a lot too, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
It's really
That's a
hard
good goal for this year.
to not travel.
No. I love to travel, and yes.
To hang out with Trevor and Kayla?
No. To travel a little less for work.
So instead of doing like another, I'm trying to think like what's a crappy place that we've been to. Instead of doing another like St. Louis week. Hey, Des Moines, we're going to be there for like 6 weeks. And that's going to be another fun job.
Des Moines and then Omaha and then Cincinnati and then Louisville.
But again, those are like big fun shoots. So like that's a horrible example. But like let's not go to St. Louis anymore.
You don't want to go to St. Louis?
No, I mean there's nothing in St. Louis. I don't like St. Louis. So like we can cut those out and like do the shoots that we were going to do there, but we'll just do them here.
I'd be cool with that.
I'd be cool with it too. Awkward silence.
What else you got?
Well, I'm trying to think. I don't know. We're like right at about the time of everybody else, so I think we can just call this good.
Because I normally am behind the camera when you shoot these, and I like that a lot better.
Oh yeah, when I edit this and for the video aspect, it's just gonna be you the whole time.
Oh great!
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, just to recap everything, and then give you guys a look into 2023, and then we'll call this good. You don't need a film degree. If you have a film degree and you're not working in film, but you want to get back into film, you can either jump full blown, both feet in, or dip your toes in. It's really like every person's experience is different. I mean, Brittany just told you her runaround of, how she got into the industry. It was really random and by chance. If it wasn't for Panera Bread, you'd probably be working a $14 an hour job.
Hey, I'd make more than $14 an hour now. Maybe
16. But like, this is Brittany's experience. We've talked to other people with their experience in the past of like just what it takes, but everyone's different. The big thing is to build some sort of support system around you that's going to catch you because you are going to fall. It's just inevitable. I fall. It feels like a couple times a year. You fall a couple times a year. But we always pick ourselves up.
And at the end of the day, I don't think there's anything else I'd rather be doing.
No.
Which sounds crazy because I had never touched a camera. I made
You don't even like movies.
Oh, I hate movies. My attention span's about 45 minutes, so anything that's longer than like episodic content, can't watch. I've never seen anything.
Ace Ventura I was like, okay, we're going to get Brittany into movies. Brittany loves animals. Oh, Ace Ventura is a great movie. Jim Carrey's hilarious. She'll love this movie. You made it maybe 30 minutes and you fell asleep on the couch.
Yeah, because I can't. It's just too long.
Ace Ventura is like an hour and a half.
Okay, I made it to like that. Yeah.
No, it was bad. And it was all about animals and stuff. Like Ace Ventura is one of the greatest movies ever.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, it was so great that I slept through it.
Ace Ventura is another one of those movies, though, that you probably couldn't make it today. Jim Carrey probably would have been canceled by now if Ace Ventura came out tomorrow. But it's a great movie.
Yeah.
No, I'm not thinking of Ace Ventura. It's Rush Hour. That probably wouldn't.
I watched Rush Hour.
Yeah.
I made it through 1 and 2.
No. I'm saying that would be canceled. Like, remember when we watched Rush Hour and there was a
like,
couple of lines that we were like, can you say that? Like, are you allowed to say? Like, maybe this is why Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker haven't been on anything in a while. Anyways. I digress.
But anyways.
I think this was a semi-successful podcast.
Semi-successful?
Do you want to talk about dating people in the industry? I mean, I know we did a little bit at the beginning, but like, is it weird date? I mean, we work together all the time. We're probably not the people to talk to about that. Because we have a unique situation. It's not like we're separating and like going away for
We have a unique situation, and we're best friends. So like,
oh
my God, shut up!
I get choked up on coffee.
Oh God, no! But literally, like, you're my best friend. Like, and if I go on a shoot without you, like 3 hours into it, you're texting me. You're like, I missed you. When are you coming home? And I'm like, aw, like I'll be home in like 3 hours.
I know. I'm clingy.
Make me dinner.
I love cooking. I'm great
at
making food.
No, I think dating people in the industry is really fun. I don't know if I think it'd be easier to date someone with both of you in the industry than if one of you was outside. Like if I was still in my other job, and I was working full time and I was doing what I was doing, I think honestly I'd just be really jealous that you were your own boss and could set your own schedule, and I think that would probably irritate me.
Well, when you weren't in the industry, like, I mean, again, like big fights by any means, but like, I'm always working. Like, I'd be on my phone, checking my email, like responding to whatever, even social media to an extent you have to keep up on. And you were like, pay attention to me.
Yeah, I was like, I'm working 50 hours a week, overnights, I'm tired, like.
Right, and like
at that point,
at that point in my career, I didn't necessarily have that luxury because you got to ride the waves in this. So yeah, it would probably be really hard if you would have gone on to be in your field, in the molecular biology field. It probably would have been. It probably would be. I don't know if we'd be here.
I probably would have ended up as a professor in the long term goal.
Yeah.
So I would have been.
With how often I'm gone though, like we very well might not be here.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, and that would be like a mutual thing. Like, you know, I'm gone 80% of the year. We're gone 80% of the year. But like, if you weren't in it, and it was just me. You know, a long distance relationship ain't fun.
No.
Especially for that amount of time.
No.
And it's not going to stop.
And so it's not like there's an end in sight. It's not like it's, oh, I'm finishing up med school and I'll be done and I'll be home.
Yeah.
Like that's a life decision that you're making.
Dope. Well, on that note, I would like to just say a giant thank you to the medical research molecular biology field for not paying very much.
Thank the pharmaceutical companies for making it so I couldn't go into my field.
Yeah. Thank you, pharmaceuticals.
Fuck the man.
Fuck the man.
Had to throw it in
Hey,
there.
I got my best friend. Got the love of my life.
Oh.
We're going to get really sentimental once this camera turns off.
And we make movies and stuff
And
together.
we make movies,
and that's pretty fun.
And it's fun. And then we don't make movies. Our hobbies are making Venom statues with Legos.
That's your hobby. I just buy them for you so you leave me alone.
What's your hobby?
I don't have any hobbies.
You have hobbies. Shut the fuck up.
My hobbies are plants. If you guys can't see
Yeah.
the plants.
Is that a hobby or a job?
It's an unhealthy coping mechanism
What are you
for
coping with?
life.
What are you coping with? Do we need to cut the camera? I do think we need to
You.
cut the camera because there's no way that anyone is still listening to this at this point.
Absolutely not.
All right, well, I'm going to say thank you guys for tuning into this week's episode. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing Brittany's story. Once again, like I said last week, if you guys have any requests, suggestions, whatever, I would love to hear them. Topics for, you know, the next episode that we're going to be filming next week.
And let's get some more women on here.
Yeah. You know, let's do that. The next person we're going to have on here is going to be a woman. At least one.
Really?
We can have multiple if we need to.
But really.
But let's get a woman on here. So, women, send me a message. Send Brittany a message. And let's make a podcast.
Let's make a podcast.
Great. Have a great New Year, everybody. And we will see you all in 2023.